how affecting your mental. Where I'm sure this is abnormal in a normal way for you because you normally are isolated. But when you come back home, you expect.
Yeah, you know what I mean? No, I do. Yeah, and the thing is, I do want. How
it affect you? How is it affecting you?
I don't know. I feel anxious. I feel anxious, bro. Anxious, so like I really do get a little anxiety.
Yeah.
At this, like in this past week, in fact, they told me that I was supposed to leave on Monday, heading out to California, and so with that said, they pushed it back to Tuesday or Wednesday, end of Tuesday, Wednesday. So that really messed with me because it gives me something to do. At least I talk to a clerk. You get me? At least I talk. But the thing is, I'm just going crazy right now because man, it's like a tease, you know. It's teasing me. It's like, oh, you have all the space and everywhere to go, but there's nobody there, you know. Man. I'm not supposed to go anywhere.
But in terms of like,
I'm not supposed to go anywhere anyway.
But I mean, that goes to show, like, I think you're not the only one that's going through, like you said, like a word like anxiety, right? Like, I just feel like there's a lot of people with anxious feelings right now, right? So like, the question is like, what are we doing? Like, okay, because you got like this like therapeutic definition of therapy. I mean, of anxiety, right? And like clinical anxiety and things that like you go to a therapist and they ask you to do, right? Like deep breathing exercises, kind of take space to yourself, kind of be able to relax your body, kind of having control over your body in the symptoms that you go through when you have anxiety, right? Because your body goes through changes, right? Your heart starts beating, your mind starts going all over the place, which may result in like physical like shaking and stuff. But like, what do we do as like regular people to deal with our anxiety, right? A lot of us cope with different ways, right? Some of us drink, some of us smoke, some of us do drugs, some of us do. But and I'm not judging. I think it's like I think in certain things some are more healthier than others, right? But in terms of like normal conversation, like what do you think the society is doing for anxiety? Like, you know, like how do you cope with anxiety? Like what's, you know, how do you cope with your
stress ball? That's what I do, man. I got a stress ball.
But I feel like,
and I also have one of those things that you squeeze. It's like a V. But, you know, that it has resistance. You know what I'm talking about?
But I feel like those
like a workout to grip, work out your grip.
Yeah, the grip.
I use that a lot, but quite frankly,
but that's practical though. You know what I'm saying? Like that's because I feel like even for some of our listener and viewers, they're never even going to see a therapist, right? So you know what I'm saying? Like they might not even know what to do. Like, you know what I'm saying, when they're anxious. I feel like practical things like a stress ball, practical things like a support system, or who do you call? Practical things like I'm gonna turn a worship music on or meditation music on. Some people listen to classical music when they're anxious. You know what I'm saying? That has like, you know, it's like what are
you know what else is good? I mean, is it like I like the sound of the waves. Ooh. You know, meditating sounds. Oh my God, or sound of whales.
You know that thing that you buy that supposedly you hear the ocean.
Yeah,
what's that called, yo?
You buy it?
The seashell.
And it's supposed to. Yo, hold on. Is that a myth or is that for real?
Hear it.
You can hear the ocean?
Well, you can hear the wind going through.
Well, they got a couple of apps on the phone now that you can use that.
Yeah, he's like, forget mine. He's
talking
you can download an app for
He's
free.
talking organic. You talking digital.
Yeah.
You know?
Yo, what can you do with that technology? Yo, buy it.
He's like, yo, we're off.
Get the app.
Get the app.
There's an app for it.
You get every sound on the app if you want. Not only whale, you get volcanoes, you get a blunt sparking up sound. You get
crackling.
Nah, because anxiety, I feel, especially what we're going to. Okay, take COVID-19 away, right?
Yeah.
Just whatever. Anxiety was still a big deal, yo. Like, you know what I'm saying?
You know what's interesting? Talking about anxiety. How about identifying when you have anxiety? I didn't even know I had anxiety.
Yeah.
I didn't even know I get anxiety anxious moments.
Yeah.
Because I just think, you know, I have to do something. You know, I gotta do something because I'm supposed to be doing something. And then I notice sometimes when I'm ready to relax and calm down, I'm showing little doses of anxiety. Like how I'm jumping from app to app. Right. You know what I mean? I'm going watching YouTube.
That's real.
And I'm watching some Netflix at the same time.
So basically, what are the signs of anxiety?
Yeah, like some people don't even know they're
Yeah, how you differentiate what's anxiety or what's actually your thought going, maybe let me do this. Because, you know, when you're anxious, you're like, you think about 20 different things you forgot to do. But in reality, it could be waiting for tomorrow. You know, you could wait for tomorrow. But in reality, I mean, like that, the truth is it's anxiety kicking in, you know? But how to like differentiate what is anxiety, thought, and like anxious thoughts and what's not?
Yeah, no, I think that's key.
I think
identifying,
I even think that's it's a great point to an individual to recognize what their own symptoms and body goes through, right? When those, because I think anxiety is like a very broad kind of thing, where like on a textual basis, it's more like these physical symptoms that you get, right? Where like a subcategory comes with like panic attacks and, you know what I'm saying, like anxiety attacks. Those are like actual, like I can't breathe, you know, I'm thinking, you know, like you know, like, exactly. But at the same time, that doesn't mean you have to go through that to have anxiety. It's just the example that you shared before, like, you know, like you don't have to have those physical symptoms to feel anxious. You know what I mean? So I feel like for me, like it's how do I know I'm anxious? How do you know you're anxious? How do you know you're anxious? How do you know you're anxious? It's all going to be different. You know what I'm saying? But what is like the middle ground? What is the common ground? I think the common ground is like, yo, we feel like something is off, and you know what I'm saying? Like we feel like something is off with ourselves. You know what I'm saying? That we're starting to worry about something way too much. We're putting a certain like, it's not normal what we're feeling, like these feelings that we're going through, and it's affecting the way we think, it's affecting the way we're acting, it's affecting everything. And I think that's the commmmon ground in anxiety.
Do you think medication helps with anxiety, or these mental health illnesses?
Well, talk about first their medication.
There's definitely medication for anxiety. There's definitely medication for anxiety, and I think it helps, but I think with medicine you have to view it as not as a cure though. Not as a cure. I think you have to use it as a support system. It's just like if you have anxiety, you know what I'm saying, you have these coping skills. Maybe like I'm gonna just shut myself off, listen to classical music, take deep breaths for 10. You know what I'm saying? Like use an app, whatever. Those are like a support system. Those are resources that you use. Medicine has, you know, you could look at it that way. You can't look at it as a cure. Why? Because it's never gonna completely heal anxiety. You know, and so you're going to want to keep more. I need more medicine because I'm still getting anxious, you know, but you're not viewing medicine the right way then, you know, because medicine is supposed to just kind of help you take that little edge off, you know, as part of one of your resources. I mean, think about it. Why do people, have you ever drank when you anxious?
I don't know.
No, I drank when I was sad.
I mean, have you ever smoked when you were anxious?
Yeah.
Have you ever done drugs when you were anxious? I mean, what
about eat?
Yeah. Have you ever ate when you're anxious? That's a good one.
Some people clean.
I was about to, but eat, all the time.
That's true.
Yeah, a lot of people eat, you know, when they're feeling depressed, when they're feeling anxious. I mean, I don't eat that much. I know, you know, people could say I don't eat that much. But I do when I get anxious, or when I, you know, feel a certain type of way, whatever. I get the ice cream, you know, the nice little bowl, you know what I'm saying?
Well, ice cream makes the world go round.
Hell yeah!
You know what I'm saying?
No, but I think you brought up a great point in terms of like sometimes you don't recognize that you're anxious, and indeed you are anxious.
I didn't know that. I didn't notice I was anxious until maybe it could have been like 8 months ago. I knew what anxiety was. That's the crazy part. I knew what the textbook anxiety was. I knew when someone else was showing signs of anxiety, but I didn't know I was actually going through anxiety. Besides the obvious, like during the day, like feeling like I gotta do something, but at night when it's time to relax, and I'm having an anxiety moment, like anxious moments, and I'm like, I didn't know I was actually having those moments, but I thought just more like I love music, I want to listen to music. But then I also want to watch this YouTube video. Yeah. But then I also got to clean my room. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm trying to do all this thing.
So your mind is going like...
It's 12:40 at night.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's past midnight. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. I should be relaxing, about to knock out. But those were like, I didn't know I was actually doing that.
Yeah.
To, you know, picking on your point, I'm kind of the same way, bro. I cannot sleep at night until maybe like 1, 2 in the morning, and you know, my mind's always going, and I'm always thinking, like, man, I just, you know, my mind's wired at night. I be thinking all these, you know, ideas, all these different, you know, what I want, you know, all these ideas come in my head, you know.
Yeah.
Aside from, you know, Pornhub and stuff like that at night. Other than that,
that's understandable after 10 o'clock.
But lately, I'm realizing that every night, you know, let's say I want to sleep at 11 o'clock because I want to wake up, you know, early or something. I just can't. So I'm starting to feel like, man, like I'm starting to feel like I have an issue with sleeping at night. But then I'm starting to think, man, is it anxiety? You know, that at nighttime it's just somehow it kicks in without me kind of realizing it kicks in. Right, because of all these things. Another way that I feel like I have anxiety is when these thoughts, I have these thoughts that creep in. Like, for example, like I was sharing it last time, but like, for example, this COVID-19 thing, I was thinking about like these thoughts sometimes creep in when like I'm just chilling. So, you know, I'm thinking about my dad, then I start imagining, my dad catches it, what happens? Or my brother catches it.
Yeah.
And I start dwelling, like, I just find my thoughts dwelling into these, like deep thoughts about, man, like the funeral, and I'm gonna give a speech and all
these
this
what
stuff.
ifs.
Oh, that's really deep.
like these crazy thoughts, and then then I just snap out of it, and I'm like, yo, what's wrong with me? What am I doing? And I've been identifying that, maybe gotta be anxiety that I'm starting thinking like that. So when they come, man, I quickly. So what I've been doing when they come, I just try not. I start thinking about something else better. Like,
my pastor would say you gotta put those thoughts under subjection.
Subjection. You know what I'm saying? And why I share about all these thoughts that I have, because I'm sure everyone deals with different thoughts and thoughts creeping in, and maybe you're not in a crazy situation, but I think we all deal with anxiety.
So what's something just real quick on the last anxiety kind of talk? Like what's like one thing that you would practical for you that works for you
for anxiety?
For anxiety when you feel anxious. One practical something that helps you, and don't even think about being right. I think everyone's solution is different.
So I don't know. So when I have anxiety, I honestly, this is practical, man. I literally calm down and I start taking some some breathing techniques. Just take just
bro. You start doing the whole.
I go like this and I be like nah, not like that, but I just start calm, meditation. I put worship music, I start and we talk about this topic, but imagine people out there that really suffer more from extreme anxiety and going through
for sure
situation.
No, that's why we want to know what you do.
So I breathing techniques. What else do I do? I at night times. All right, you know what I really do at night times that I'm trying to do?
Yo, tell us, man. Just give us the secret, bro.
Bro, enough with the BS.
You gotta smoke your blunt, man.
Hey.
I was waiting. I was gonna put you on blast if you didn't say that.
Relax.
Yo, that's it.
I was gonna say, bro.
That's
it.
Did you